I want to see the OBS look green, please. Green. That would be nice. Would appreciate green. Hey, there it is. This is so confusing. I'm sorry. I've tried really, really hard for the past few streams to be like, I don't want to bring up YouTube Studio because that's... I've ranted about YouTube Studio probably every time we started a random Q&A sesh, and I was like, okay, this is getting old, but I'm gonna do it again. I'm sorry, just because they make it different per channel, which is so confusing. Like, even on the mobile app, like, they decided for whatever reason, like, even though this channel I have that uses it's my personal account and stuff, I don't post any content to this. I don't live stream from this. I don't upload to this. And yet on the mobile app, they want to put the create button right in the center, right in between where I normally tap to access my subscriptions. They're like, no, we're going to put we're going to put the create button, even though a lot of people using YouTube, I think it's fair to say, a lot of people using YouTube do not upload content. A lot of people are just watching stuff. So YouTube, you don't have to put the plus button at the bottom nav bar, right, where everybody's trying to switch between the home tab or library or subscriptions. It doesn't belong there at all. And yet they put notifications and stuff up here, or search. Why not put search in the middle? Like, I don't understand what would be so complicated about that. And same thing with live streaming. So if I want to go live on the tech channel, you have to start streaming from OBS, and then they have a different button within YouTube Studio on the browser to hit go live, start a live stream. And yet on Talks, it's like, oh, if you hit start streaming on OBS, it's just going to start streaming right away. There's no go live button. So I don't know how you change these settings because I've never messed around with them. But basically, on YouTube at least, they're like, this account, we're going to design Studio a certain way. On this account, we're going to design it a certain way. And the funny thing is I started the Talos of Space channel recently. So I was messing around with some of the settings, and I was looking at comments on the Space channel. And I created this new account, but when I logged into it, well, it's there now, but when I logged into it, the plus was gone. I was like, okay, so here's a channel I've specifically created so I can upload videos and I can live stream from it. And they get rid of the little plus in the nav bar. But when it's a channel that I specifically do not use for content production, they put the plus there. It makes no sense. So anyway, that's my little rant on YouTube Studio. I'll give them a little bone though. The one thing YouTube added recently that I'm very, very happy about, because it was bugging me for the longest time, and I was very disappointed that they didn't think of this, is that when your video is processing, they now give you a little badge to let you know, hey, your video has processed to 4K, which for the longest time, whether you uploaded in 1080p, 4K, or even 8K, it would always just say standard definition, high definition. Those were the only two badges they would give you. So there were a lot of times where YouTube would be done processing the 1080p file, but not done processing the 4K file, which is how Marquez, someone who uploads very high resolution sometimes, he was always getting confused because he would publish a video that was supposed to be filmed and uploaded in 8K, but because YouTube screwed up, it's still only being showed at maximum like 1080p or whatever. So because of those stupid little badges just not telling you when the video had actually rendered out completely, I don't know why. Yeah, like Gilles saying, Google messing around once again. They're constantly testing us. Just tell us when you're going to change something and just kind of implement it for everybody. I don't need one channel to be operating a certain way from a different channel, because switching from tech to talks, it's like all the buttons and all the options are in like completely different sections. The other very, very annoying thing about YouTube Studio that I'll add with live streaming is that every time I start a stream, YouTube, I don't know why they do this, because I can't save these preferences, but YouTube instantly assumes you don't want to monetize the stream. You want monetization turned off. Like, do I have to explain why stupid that is? Like, yeah, if the channel is monetized, I think it's safe, YouTube. It's probably safe to assume people would like it to be monetized when they go live. Because right now, if you didn't touch anything and if you just went live on Talks, it would stay off completely. It would just not make any ads, and I don't even know if the super chat option would be there. um, I do not get it. I don't understand it. Speaking of super chat, thank you for 2 at the same time. Wow. Did you guys coordinate that? That was funny. Rough Rider shows his thoughts on SN9's test flight. So I shared my thoughts over on the Space Channel. Feels cool that I can say that now. But yeah, I was able to react to it live, and then all of my thoughts on SN9 I gave afterwards. I'm pretty busy with all the other channels right now, but I do have a video planned to talk about what happens when a starship crashes, because I feel like there's a lot of hype and there's a lot of stuff surrounding every starship launch. So whenever a tiny little thing goes wrong, people act like it's the end of the world. So I've been thinking of making a video to basically calling it like Starship Therapy. In other words, it'll be a little bit comedic, but I don't want to spoil the whole video. So you'll have to wait for that. If you want more space content, you'll have to watch Talos of Space, which is an official thing now. So yeah, you can just look up Talos of Space. We're on Twitter, we're on Twitch, we're on YouTube. I think that's it for now. But yeah, Nick and DJ have been running the Talos of Space podcast. I don't believe I've been on it yet. I think I recorded one with Nick, but I don't know if it came out. Anyway, I cannot promise you guys I will consistently be posting space content, but occasional. You know, I have a few channels that I would like to remain consistently active. This one, Talks, is a big one. Obviously, Tech and EV are the top priorities because they're the biggest channels and they bring home the big bucks. And it's not that's not the driving force, because I don't want the message to be sent across that I'm only focusing on Tech and EV because they make money. It's like, genuinely, when I wake up in the morning, videos for those channels are what I'm usually thinking about. That's kind of in general what my mind is focused on. Like when Tesla announces something or there's some news surrounding Apple, and I usually go, ooh, okay, I can talk about that in a video. I want to talk about that in a video. It's not just, well, if these channels were making more money, I would focus on those. There's probably some truth to that, but for the most part, like, I've got some super consistent channels, which are Tech and EV, and then I have some channels that I'm dedicating more work towards, but I won't say as consistent as Tech and EV. I would say like that middle tier channel would be like this one with Talks. I'm trying to do more vlogs, and I want to do these YouTube streams and the Talks podcast. And below that is like occasional. I won't call them consistent channels. I won't say I won't say they're channels I plan on posting to regularly. Oh, the other one for Talos of Talks is Talos of TV. Sorry. So Talks is like somewhat active, maybe not like 5 videos a week active, but somewhat active. And same with Talos of TV, which even in Talos of TV's heyday was only posting 1 video a week because a lot of work goes into the skits and writing the script and editing them. It's a very time-consuming channel, but I really enjoy it and it's fun. So Talos of TV, somewhat consistent. And then at the bottom, we have occasional, which is stuff like Talos of movie reviews, which occasionally inspiration will strike and I'll be like, ooh, that would make a really great video. And now I have a channel to post that to. I don't want to just drop that off on Talks because it's kind of a different genre. And now space is probably bunched in with that as well. It's like, oh, occasionally, if I can think of a good video, because honestly, I can't think of that many topics for space videos that wouldn't be just replicating or copying what other channels are already doing, because that's where I get most of my space news, is from other YouTubers that I shouted out in my vlog on this channel, all about why I'm obsessed with space content. But yeah, yeah, I know there's gaming, but I really have nothing planned for that, so that I wouldn't even say is in the occasional. The gaming channel is more like putting a for sale sign on. It's more like, I don't really know what I'm gonna do with that. There's a few people that have talked to me about taking over it and just kind of running it, but nothing concrete. So, you know, don't expect anything from gaming. Anyway, I'll start interacting with the chat. Rockford Media, thank you for the super chat. 1891 keeps calling me toxic waste. Well, that's not nice. Just don't listen to him. Try to block out those haters, Rockford. Let's see. How's the battery been on the 12 mini? The battery on the 12 mini is honestly only an issue on trips. If I'm like driving somewhere that's pretty far away, or I'm going out and about and filming and taking pictures and stuff, then I notice the battery draining a little bit faster, and I'm like, oh shoot, I better get near a charger. But on day-to-day stuff, that's really not most of the year. Most of the year is me and my wife at home working, and with this, like, I've had Wi-Fi off on my phone all day. I'm at 71% battery, and I woke up at like 5:30 today. So it's probably because, thanks to the Apple ecosystem, when I'm working at my desk, I typically don't really use my phone that often. I'm usually just on my iMac or on my iPad, and from that, I can text people, I can check Twitter, I can do all the things my phone can do on my iMac. So there's not a whole lot of screen time going into the phone, because when I'm at my desk, at least, there's not a lot of exclusive features the iPhone has. I'll occasionally do a vlog and do some video for cutaway shots in a tech video, but for the most part, battery has not been an issue for, I'd say, 95% of circumstances. On those small circumstances where I'm driving a great distance, or I'm visiting somewhere and I'm out hiking around, or being out and about, basically on the days when I'm not working, it becomes a little bit of an issue. I wouldn't say it's like a deal breaker. It's not like the battery dies instantly. It's just like I notice it a bit more. I'll be like at 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'll be like, oh, battery is 25, 30% or something like that. So manageable, as Marquez would put it. That's I I was really jealous when Marquez reviewed the 12 mini, because when he said that, I was instantly like, oh, that's a great way of putting it. It's manageable. It's not so bad that you can't recommend the phone, because I would still recommend the phone to a ton of people, but it's not like really, really good, which is more like the Max. Anyway, that's so tech related. We don't have to go tech. Thank you, Chris Norton, for the super chat. Appreciate that. Have some cash. You don't need to, but thank you. I appreciate it. How do you feel about the mobile YouTube Studio app? I think it's too restricted and missing tons of features from the website version, which is terribly optimized. I'll be completely honest with you, Techno TAK. I do not use the YouTube Studio app on my iPad or my iPhone. Not because it's bad, but because when I had it, well, it's technically on my iPad, but I don't look at it almost ever. The only time I open YouTube Studio on my iPad still has work-related apps. My iPhone doesn't. So there's no YouTube Studio on here. But the iPad, for the most part, just kind of stays in the office when I'm done working. Occasionally, I'll take it out when we want to do some more finance stuff and I want mobile keyboard and that kind of thing. But yeah, like the YouTube Studio app, I just end up checking it all the time if it's on my phone, and it felt destructive because if a video wasn't doing well, it would bother me. And I was letting the YouTube Studio app is kind of built in a way that if you're not exponentially growing your channel, then the Studio app will make you feel like you're a failure. And it's literally built that way, because it will, first thing you see when you open the app is just like, here's how your video is doing compared to your last 10 videos. And even if your video is doing like fine, it's doing average, they'll still tell you it's like 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10, and they give you these little pop-ups that say like, ooh, not great, even if it's doing fine, which I always found like not very encouraging. And they'll give you a 1 out of 10 if something's doing really, really well, and they give you confetti and everything. And I just found out that after a while that YouTube Studio app was really not helping me, because I was like, I don't do this job. I don't make videos for the numbers, and yet I'm letting the numbers dictate my happiness all the time. It was like an emotional exercise of realizing that if the numbers looked low on YouTube Studio, then I couldn't be happy. It may have not been a conscious decision, but I noticed it subconsciously. I was like, oh, no, I'm not doing good. Oh, this is sad. And if it's doing well, I'm like, oh, okay, I can be happy now. Cool. All right, I'm good. I'm an awesome, successful channel. I can do whatever I want. But I was like, that's not how I want to measure success. So that's why I just stopped looking at it. The only reason I still have it on my iPad is because The one time I will actually check for analytics is AdSense. Not AdSense necessarily, but YouTube Studio has a tab called Estimated Revenue, which will basically tell you what you're most likely going to make. So having a good understanding of what I've made so far in the month is kind of helpful, because if you're making a bunch, and that money's coming in the following month within a couple weeks or so, then we can spend or invest our current money a certain way. Whereas if you see your estimated revenue, it's way lower than usual, lower than average, then you're like, oh, we should probably not invest all this money. Even if we have it in cash in our bank accounts, we probably shouldn't invest a bunch of money if our next paycheck is going to be a lot smaller. So that's the one reason I check YouTube Studio, but I don't do it daily. It's probably once a week. I'll go in the app just to see how it's doing. But I could probably delete it from the iPad, because honestly, I do it off the desktop anyway. I'm not sure why I have it there. I think it just makes the home screen look complete. I don't know. I'll delete it right now. I'm going to do it. Screw it. We don't need the iPad YouTube Studio app. Suck it. There. I'm going to pull something out of a folder so the home screen looks more even. Let's see. Wow, Chris, you're donating more. I said don't. Okay, as we're complaining about YouTube, I want a refund button. YouTube, I know you get 30% of each of these super chats, which is unfair, but yeah, if if someone super chatted and the 3 dots let you just refund them, I would do that a lot. Thank you, Chris Norton. Buy a battery pack for your iPhone. I'm not gonna buy a battery pack for it because the battery is. I mean, look, I'm halfway through the day and my battery's at 70%, and a battery pack is just going to hurt the battery faster because it's probably going to keep it at around 100%. Then I got to charge the battery pack, and like I said, like 95% of the time, the battery on the 12 mini is fine, and just on those on those occasional days where I need to charge it, I just need to drop it on my MagSafe Duo a little bit earlier than 10 o'clock, which is typically when my phone starts charging. But on those days, I'm like, oh, okay, when I get back home, I'll just drop it on the charger for a few minutes, and then I'm good for the rest of the day. So, or I could activate low power mode, which back in my Pro Max days, I like never used low power mode. But with this, it's a little bit handy, so I don't need a battery pack. Is the iPhone 11 or 12 mini better? I could get one of them for around 500. There's pros and cons to both. I've probably done a video on it, but I like the 12 mini. I'd recommend it. So that way you can use MagSafe. Wiggly Stone, I like that name. Says, how's it going? It's going well. Thanks for asking. I'd be happy to take those refunds. The thing with refunds is that they wouldn't be a guarantee. That's like some of the terms and conditions when you super chat creators, is that you cannot, you can't expect it to come back. So if you're super chatting, you have to fully acknowledge, like, okay, I'm not getting this money back. I can't ask the creator to refund me. I guess you can, but they're not legally obligated to. That's part of the TOS when super chatting. If you donate right now, don't do this, but if you donated right now $100 and said, oops, I meant for that to be $1, can you refund me? I could legally be in the right and say, no, sorry. I mean, that's unfortunate, but the thing is, if you donate $100, I'm only getting 66. So if you want all that money back, I'm out $40, which is basically theft because you didn't understand how the super chat system works, which is a little unfair to me. And YouTube would still get a cut of that. So yeah, I don't think YouTube thinks refunds are important, seeing as they don't make money enough. Yeah, YouTube doesn't make enough money as it is, but I don't know. Just refunds in general, I think would be nice if a content creator, if it's up to the creator. I mean, if it was up to the viewer, it would be probably abused a lot. You could donate a huge amount and people will be like, wow, what an amazing donation, thank you so much, and the viewer's like, nope, just kidding, and they take it back. Yeah, that would be abused. But if the content creator could see, to me, this is morally acceptable. Like, I feel like platforms should allow for that. If a content creator is streaming and then one of their fans is like, hey, you're awesome, I want to support you, here's a donation, and the content creator's like, no, you're too kind, you're too generous, I don't need it, have your money back. I don't see anything morally wrong with that. I guess YouTube might have some issues. It would be like, hey, we want 30% of each refund. So if I was the one losing out on money, maybe I wouldn't be as inclined to refund each time. But man, it was funny. I was just talking. Someone was asking earlier. Um, Rajiv Sharma says, "Where are Nick and Randy?" Nick and Randy are in their homes, probably. I know that Nick is working on the next Taylosive movie review podcast right now, and Randy's actually texting me in the group chat as we speak. They're talking about where, he and his wife are going to end up going. But I was just texting Randy before we started this stream, and we were talking about Twitch versus YouTube live streaming, because he was thinking about doing stuff on Twitch, but he didn't know too much about Twitch Prime. So I was trying to explain to him how Twitch Prime works and why personally I think Twitch is a much better streaming platform. But the reason I'm still streaming on YouTube is because people are much more inclined to donate on YouTube, which is a little interesting because YouTube, in my opinion, is less transparent about the donations than Twitch is. Twitch is a site more built around live streaming. YouTube is a bit more around edited videos or just videos in general, not so much live. That's a more recent thing. But I think it's because this was Randy's theory, which I agree with. He says it's because it's a dollar amount. So, each of you, like Chris Norton is donating pounds. Alexander Ernst said, "Hey, Drew, how you doing?" That's very kind of you. He donated. I don't even know how to say that currency or what it's called. You can remind me in the chat. But whatever country you're in, that's the currency that shows up when you hit the super chat. And because people see an actual price and an actual currency that they know, they're more inclined to donate more because they know, oh, Chris Norton knows that's going to be 15 pounds. I know I have 15 pounds, so I'm going to donate that. Swiss francs, is that what Alexander just donated? Or is that just Gilles making something up? The francs? That's an interesting currency name. I haven't actually heard of that one. But yeah, you see a currency that you're like, okay, I have this much money. I'm going to donate this much money. Whereas, okay, he's right. Swiss currency. Got it. But YouTube does not disclose that information. Like I was watching, I'm not saying you should watch this podcast. It's not as family friendly as Taylosive is, but I watched the H3 podcast with Ethan and Hila and Zach and Dan and Ian and the whole gang. I don't watch Frenemies. I couldn't get into Frenemies, but the regular H3 and H3 After Dark and all that. They've been live streaming on YouTube for years. And at one part of the podcast, like just a week ago, they just now realized that each one of their super chats they get, 30% of it goes to YouTube. YouTube takes 45% of the ad revenue, to answer your question, Alpha, but 30%, I think it's 33% of each super chat. And this is like a giant channel with like millions of subscribers, and they didn't know that. So even the content creator doesn't have an understanding on how big the fee is for super chats, and Twitch makes it abundantly clear because they developed their own currency, bits, and some people don't like bits because it's like, oh, I got to buy a different currency and then donate that, and it's kind of confusing. But the truth is bits are way more obvious with how much Twitch gets versus how much the creator gets. And typically the fee that Twitch charges is a lot more reasonable. Plus they have like sales that go on for bits, and the more you buy, the lower the fee is. Whereas on YouTube, it doesn't matter. You could donate $500 in super chat. YouTube is still going to take the same 1/3, or you could donate $1 and YouTube's going to take 30% of that. And I could be wrong on this, but I believe also if you're donating on iOS, Apple gets 1/3 of that donation as well. I'm not sure exactly, but there must have been some way Apple allowed YouTube to do the super chat donation thing. But yeah, like just because YouTube displays currency in everyone's different demographic, people I think are more inclined to like, okay, I'll donate a bit more. But on Twitch, people are like, I don't feel like donating. I got to buy bits. What are bits? I don't understand that. It's confusing. But Twitch makes it very clear, like, okay, 1 bit equals 1 penny. So 100 pennies are $1. So if you have to spend $1.25 to get 100 bits, you know exactly how much Twitch is getting. It's like painfully obvious how much Twitch gets from each transaction. And just that reality, just that truth of knowing how much Twitch gets turns people off. Um, people are like, oh no, I don't want to donate because that's confusing. It's different. I'm not used to it. So I don't know which is better exactly, because YouTube's less honest, but the less honesty probably results in more people donating. Like, I've still probably made more money through super chats than people donating bits on Twitch, because people think, oh, this is how much I'm donating, or that's a currency I know, so I can donate it. And I don't know. I feel like it's a little immoral on YouTube's part, but I still think I still just prefer Twitch as a platform. But Twitch is also much smaller than YouTube, so you kind of have to stream where people are. You don't want to live stream if even if you had like the best platform that did everything you like, but at the same time, uh, no one was there. It wouldn't matter. So you kind of want to stream somewhere where you can get people listening, and so that's why I still stream on YouTube and um, talk to people about Twitch, because I feel like it's very underrated, and I wish YouTube had a more uh, large sized competitor than Twitch. And I wish Twitch would grow, so that's why I talk about it so much. But yeah, I try to do a bit of both, because a lot of people enjoy the live streams but refuse to ever use Twitch, and I get that. So that's why I continue to do both. Anyway, Swiss francs, appreciate that, Alexander. That's very nice of you. Thank you. It's because the vast majority of your audience is just YouTube migration. That's part of it, but I've been promoting Twitch for years. I originally started the Talos of Tech Twitch account, I think early 2018, and pretty much every single Apple event ever since then, I've told people I'll be live on Twitch. Go to Twitch. Twitch is much better. I've been doing videos about how Twitch is more honest with donations, and they allow picture in picture and that kind of thing. And they're more built for live streaming platforms, and it's better for the streamer. It's better for the viewer. It's better for everybody. And that is still, years later, only resulted in around 10,000 followers over on Twitch, which isn't nothing, but it's a small piece of what we get on YouTube. So it's just YouTube is where most people are. That's why they're so hard to compete with. People don't like moving platforms. That's just a fact. People, doesn't matter if the other platform is better. If people are used to using a certain app or a certain social media, they do not want to change it. They don't want to switch over. Yeah. Don't get me started on people choosing liars over the truth. Oh yeah. I liked Mixer before it was shut down, even though it was similar to Twitch. Yeah, I know a lot of people that liked Mixer. I didn't care for it. I tried it a few times, and I can't pinpoint now. I mean, we don't have the app anymore. I can't pinpoint right this second what bugged me about Mixer. I think it was something about the user interface. Something about the layout and the design was just annoying to me. And I knew it wouldn't really work out because Mixer just had too many different types of currency. Twitch is already hard enough to get people to switch to, like, coming from a channel that was mainly known as being a YouTuber, and then I was trying to get people to use Twitch. No one liked Twitch because of the bits thing, and bits were confusing to people. And Mixer had something else, and they had like 3 different types of currencies or something like that. And I was like, okay, this is going to be even a harder pitch to get people to switch over. And I don't think Mixer, I can't recall, I could be wrong on this, but I don't think Mixer had much of a monetization process in place. They probably had one, but I thought the process of becoming an affiliate and a partner on Twitch was very simple and easier to understand. They were just like, you need this many people following you, you need this many viewers consecutively, and you need this many live streams. You just had to follow this pretty reliable, understandable guide that was like, here's how you make money on Twitch. Whereas on Mixer, it was like, what? It was like, you stream, I guess, and we'll contact you about getting paid eventually. Or you have to do everything through PayPal. And PayPal donations get messy too, because they're easier to charge back and easier to refund, so people are more inclined to donate and then say, give them my money back and that kind of thing. So it's weird. You don't like the chat on Twitch? It's so cluttered. It's interesting you say that. I don't understand what's cluttered about it because they don't have profile pictures. Maybe that's what throws people off. YouTube just spaces out the chat a bit more. But I always thought the chat was less useful on YouTube because the profile pictures are so small anyway. I can barely see what they are. So just going with the text, I don't know. Plus the custom emotes thing, but I guess that's on YouTube now. Yeah, YouTube's a household name. Everybody knows. It's hard to find people who don't know what YouTube is these days. So it's just more well known, and it's very hard to fix that. You can't really change anything. Let's see. Someone asked earlier, couldn't you expand within Tailosum Tech and post more various content on there, or do you want to have more freedom on the other channels? I have tried that, and it never worked out. I know it's very easy. I understand the viewpoint of people saying like, well, why are you getting, why are you not expanding one channel to do more different types of things? Wouldn't that increase your viewership? But from what I've discovered, whenever I tried to do something a bit off of the norm with the tech channel, in other words, whenever I would try to make videos that were not really what the tech channel got big with, whether it be, the tech channel blew up with iPhone leaks mainly, just talking about the future of iPhone. And whenever I would go down a different path with tech, the viewership never did that well. Whether it be VR type stuff or talking more about gaming hardware or talking more about what was the other one? I was just thinking EV. That was a great example. Whenever I would try to do videos on Tesla or electric vehicles on the tech channel, the viewers, they'd come and go. Sometimes you'd get something that would blow up like the Cybertruck, but you know that the majority of people watching that video aren't interested in the iPhone leaks. They just wanted to talk about the Cybertruck. So I never found much success in that, to do like a bunch of different genres within one channel, but I'm sure it can be done successfully. I just haven't exactly found a way to do it. But holy crap, I got to acknowledge Chris Norton, I see Chris donating bits on Twitch all the time, and he's always dropping super chats in here. Holy crap, Chris, you dropped 100 pounds. Sounds like I'm congratulating him on his weight loss, but no, this is a super chat of 99.99 pounds. After YouTube takes their cut and Apple takes their cut, I'll probably get like $30 out of that. But thank you very, very much. I appreciate that, Chris. That's too much generosity. You got to stop. Can I turn it off here? Monetization. Why don't they have super chat as an option here? Enable live chat, enable slow. I don't know. That's too much, Chris. You're way too generous. Way too generous. Thank you very much. Super nice of you. He says, I like YouTube. All right, here we are. We're back on YouTube. But yeah, I've tried quite a few times, to go back on the last subject. I've tried a few times being like, let's do different things on the tech channel. But every time I try something very different or something that I think, oh, this could be big or this could be interesting, and it's not about the iPhone, it always ends up just kind of flopping. And it doesn't bother me that much when a video flops, because I'm like, yeah, I'm not in this for the money. I'm just focusing on making content I like. But yeah, I haven't had much success with just doing different genre. Today we're going to start doing PC builds or reviewing third-party headphones more often. But anytime I do that, it's just no one's interested. People subscribe to that channel because they want to talk about Apple and they want to talk about iPhones, and that's what the majority of that viewership is coming from. But yeah, Tesla on the tech channel always just felt out of place because people were like, I'm not really into this, and I want to talk about iPads and iPhones, and I'm not really interested in what Tesla's doing. But at the same time, those videos would pick up people that aren't interested in Apple, but they are interested in Tesla. So the audiences were different enough that I was like, okay, let me try to separate the two and see what happens. And then that worked out really, really well. Amazingly well now. EV oftentimes is performing better than tech. That was happening the past week or so. EV channel will just take off with some of those videos on like the new Tesla Model S and X refresh and stuff. Man, that stuff, the views are great. Lots of people watch those. So Yeah, I in my experience, which you shouldn't probably believe or trust everything I say when it comes to content production, because Tech Channel loses subs left and right now. I'm losing subscribers all the time across pretty much all the channels except EV. So I should not be uh your guys' inspiration when it comes to how do I grow my channel? How do I become a full-time YouTuber? Because it's like I can't grow my channel. I don't know what I'm doing. But I've grown the channel enough to the point that I can just make stuff that I like and make stuff that I want to make and still make a decent living off of that. So yeah, that's why in my experience at least, diversifying channels and just having more dedicated, this channel is just for this and this channel is just for this, has worked out a lot better for me than trying to do one channel with everything. Because I've gotten that comment for years. I remember back in 2015 or 2016, people were seeing me do all these different channels, and they were like, "Drew, wouldn't they get more views if you just put everything on the same channel?" And I'm like, "I don't think so. I think you'd probably have an incredibly inactive subscriber count if I was uploading skits and movie reviews and vlogs and tech videos and EV videos and space videos all on one channel that was just Taylosive. I feel like people would be like, I don't want all this. I just want some of this. And that's the whole reason I made the network, is so that, you know, if you want to watch everything you can, but if you don't, you don't have to get notified about it. So it's worked out for me. Yeah, not flooding. Don't flood them with videos they don't want, because I only do that because that's what's happened to channels I watch in the past. I won't name names. I don't want to call them out, but there are channels I've watched that do some things I'm interested in, and then a bunch of other stuff I don't care about. And I would always be hesitant to subscribe to any of them, because I would subscribe to them and then I would get a bunch of stuff in my sub feed that I don't like. I'm like, I'm not interested in that. I don't want that. I just want this one thing your channel does. But because it's a channel, people feel like they have to do a million other things on one channel. So I wouldn't, no, I would not consider having a Taylosive one channel, just because if I don't think I'd be where I am today if I tried to do everything on one channel. I don't think it would have worked, honestly. I think people would have been a lot more hesitant to watch me if I was doing all kinds of different videos outside of tech, but also doing tech videos. I know, because I tried that. I did a basic, not very. I didn't try very hard, but I kind of did a few tech videos on what used to be called the main channel before the tech channel existed, and I would get some views, but no one would come back. So I don't think it would have worked out if I tried to do everything on one. Hey, Tim Sutton, how's it going? You asked me something somewhere. Where was it? Oh no, I think it was the tech video. That's what it was. On Twitter, you were like, "I want to hear your thoughts on the air charge thing." I think that was Tim, and I was like, "Okay." I mean, I don't think it's going to happen, but Tim suggested. Pretty much, people don't make suggestions as much as you'd think, but I've always said the same thing whenever people are commenting on tech videos. They're like, why are you talking about this, or this already happened, this is old news? Or it's like, I'll make videos if enough people ask me to make them, you know, as long as it's something not immoral or illegal or something, you know. But for the most part, when it comes to like tech subjects or EV subjects, if there's a bunch of people asking me, Drew, you should talk about this or make a video about this, I'll probably do it, as long as it's not political or, you know, religious based or something like that. You know, I try to keep it cool online, but um, Tim was probably the one person who asked me to make a video about that, and I was like, okay, I will. And then I did the video, and people are like, Drew, why are you talking about this? I don't care. And I'm like, well, just don't click on it. there's enough variety in the tech genre as a whole, but I don't like talking about politics, honestly, especially on the internet, because it just never ends well. Everyone just ends up being angry at each other. I'd probably like talking about politics if people had a better mutual respect and could exchange conversation a lot better. And people just be like, oh, that's an interesting perspective. I disagree, but I understand where you're coming from. If that was the approach we had on politics, I would love talking politics, but that's never been how it works on the internet. It's always right, wrong, mad, angry, toxic, I hate you, and certain political viewpoints can just like ruin channels for people. And it's sad that the internet works that way, but it's true. It's like you can just come forward with one political ideology and someone's like, I can't watch you anymore. Like, I can't stand your content. I'm like, why do we need to go there? You know, politics never usually end with happy. Everyone's always just angry all the time. But to answer your question, Tim, what podcasts are you listening to at the moment? Mostly just H3. I'll be honest. I listen to them usually while I'm editing, and they post a lot. And there's a lot of stuff they talk about on that podcast that makes me laugh. Just because I do so many tech and EV podcast thing myself, about over an hour of podcasting a week, plus the live streams and stuff, I don't really have a need or a desire to listen to tech podcasts. So I know there's all kinds of great tech podcasts out there, but I don't listen to them just because, I kind of need a break when you're researching tech videos, making tech videos, doing tech podcasts. You don't really want to consume much tech news because you've kind of already heard it before. I occasionally will listen to the Waveform podcast, but I really want to emphasize the occasional with Marquez, just because he's like the one tech channel I watch. Probably because every time Marquez will make a comment or say something about a phone in a video, people will end up usually asking me about it. So I'm like, I might as well know what Marquez is saying. That's like the one YouTuber people are like, Drew, what are your thoughts of Marquez claiming this or Marquez doing this? And Marquez and I have collabed before, so he kind of holds a special place in my heart. So yeah, I watch all his stuff, but that's about it. Outside of Marquez, I can't think of many other tech channels I watch. You should get invited to the Waveform. I think Marquez is kind of annoyed because we're bugging him to come on our podcast for a long time. And one time, I didn't understand why it was super cringy. I don't know if I've addressed this publicly. I probably have at some point. But one time, I made some meme, I think. I think it was like 1.5 terabytes of RAM on a Mac. Who needs that? And then I showed the Will Smith saying, Fortnite in Marquez Brownlee. And that tweet went really, really viral. Got a lot of likes. And Marquez either retweeted it or replied to it or something. And then I followed up that tweet with saying like, hey, thanks for the retweet, Marquez. If you want to come on our podcast sometime, let me know. I thought it was respectful and friendly, but I guess I'm naive or thick-headed or something, because I got hammered on for that reply. Just that little follow-up of me saying, hey, thanks, Marquez. Do you want to come on the podcast? That was all really I said. And I got all these replies and all these people on my back saying, oh my God, Drew, you're so cringe. You're so desperate. You're simping. And you're terrible. How dare you try to get Marquez on your podcast? I felt like most people didn't know, like, Marquez has been on my channel before. Like, we've talked. We know each other. And he's referenced me since then. And I show up in his little podcast album art in his videos sometimes. So I didn't think it was that cringy, but I guess everyone thought it was really, really cringy. So after that, I was like, okay, I guess you're not supposed to ask people to come on your podcast anymore. It just ruined my Twitter notifications for like a good week. Sometimes you just have to like completely purge because all your notifications are from the same thing. After that, I was like, okay, I'm not going to ask anymore, because for a while we were memeing it on the tech podcast because we knew our album art had showed up in the MKBHD video. So we were just like ending every show with, hey, Marquez, come on the show. But now we've kind of stopped doing that, just for one, because everyone was like, ew, you guys are so desperate, it's cringy. And I'm also thinking now, like, I don't even know what we would talk about. I watch all his videos. I don't really have that many great questions for him. I mean, if I was in New York or something, it might be fun to hang out. But honestly, I can't really think of a podcast to have or something. But if he wanted to interview me, I would absolutely make the time. That's a very different thing. But there's not. Yeah, the tech field's kind of not super interesting right now, and I'm taking a break from Android phones, and he's reviewing nothing but Android phones these days. So I didn't think it was super cringy, but I guess that's how it came across. So I'm kind of like, all right, I'm not going to ask for other people to come on the podcast very much anymore. I'm just going to, at least publicly, We had Sam from iUpdate on and stuff. Um, what do I think of Trisha joining the H3 crew? I'm not into it very much, honestly. I know that H3 has seen a lot of success with the Frenemies podcast, but I tried watching it. It's not funny to me. I know a lot of people that are like, I think it's because it's so drama based. Like the whole Frenemies show, I'm probably speaking out of turn because I haven't listened to most of the episodes. I've only listened to a handful of them, but she always is just like loud and annoying and toxic to me, to the point that I'm like, whenever I see a Frenemies video or a podcast uploaded, I'm like, no thanks. I mean, to each their own. Entertainment's very subjective, and some people find something more interesting than someone else. But for me, at least, what I like about the H3 dynamic is not so much the drama. Normally, just like Ethan's commentary on things he's found online are more funny to me, or the sound bites. And the Frenemies show is just kind of like Trisha being annoying, and I don't know. I'm probably being too hard. Don't cancel me, but it's just I couldn't find any entertainment value out of it, so I'm not into it. But it seems to be financially doing very well for them, so I understand why they keep doing it. They want to give the fans what they want. I get that too. I want to give you guys what you want too, and so they'll keep doing it. But honestly, to be completely honest, I wouldn't mind. Not naming names, but I wouldn't mind if they wanted to break apart some of the H3 podcasts into separate channels so that I could just subscribe to one and get what I want instead of having to subscribe to one and get a bunch of stuff I don't want, which is kind of what's happening right now. I just want the regular H3 podcast, maybe H3 After Dark. Content Court is fun. I like Content Court. But Frenemies isn't my cup of tea. It sounds too it sounds too drama based, and I'm not really into YouTube drama. Hey, Tim says, can't believe you remembered me. I'm also the guy who wrote an article about your tech podcast in a magazine a couple of years ago, if you remember that. Oh my God, Tim, I do. I think I vaguely remember that. Yeah, you wrote about it. That was so cool. Thank you for doing that, by the way. There are certain names I can't say for everybody, but there are certain names in the Twitter and YouTube space that stick out to me, and I'm just like, yeah, that's the guy who did this or whatever. Can't recall. Oh God, why are so many people texting me? It looks like everyone knows when I'm live. What are we talking about today? Well, I guess Tim was asking me what podcasts I listen to, and I was basically just talking about the H3 podcast. Rafi says, are you planning on buying a Tesla someday? Probably someday, but we've got a lot of days to go, probably. Chris Norton says, just playing with my phone. I like all your stuff. Wow. More super chats, Chris? You didn't donate enough already? My goodness. Oh, shut up, Siri. Thank you so much. I'm glad you enjoy your phone. Let's see. Do you see the tech channel ever reaching 1 million within the next 5 years? It would be a far reach, but not impossible. Nothing's impossible. I mean, you can... There's always the small chance. It's not common, but there's a small chance that you could make the one video that just hits the algorithm just right, and it just blows up, and your video gets millions and millions of views, and then you get a bunch of subscribers from that. But I don't think that's going to happen. To answer your question, no. I used to. Back in 2018, we were looking at the tech channel's growth and kind of future projections from Social Blade and stuff. And we were thinking, you know what? I think the tech channel could get, 1 million subs in the next 3 years, maybe 4 years if the growth continues. But sadly, it has not continued, and now it's losing subs, which I'm not super bummed out about because I'm still having fun and I enjoy the videos I'm making, which is ultimately what matters most. But at this point, I don't think the channel dropping subs and people kind of losing interest in the tech genre as a whole, as smartphones get more and more boring and Apple is pivoting more towards services, which there's a whole lot less to talk about if we're just doing services. Because of that, I don't think it's going. I don't think this is a temporary issue, to put it lightly. I don't think the tech channel becoming uninteresting or too repetitive for people is going to go anywhere. And I've thought about it from multiple different angles and different dimensions of like, well, maybe I should start doing this differently, or maybe I should take the tech channel in a different direction to kind of save it, quote unquote. But I haven't found a great solution, or I think like a savior plan that'll get us back on track to 1 million subs by 2024. But I don't think I don't think there is one. I think it's going to be a running problem with all tech channels, whether you're into smartphones or watches or iPads or any of that stuff. It's all going to become less and less compelling, less and less interesting, less and less to talk about with each upgrade. I've talked about it in countless streams before. Yeah, I'm sure I've gone down this, but it kind of relates to the question someone was asking of like, will the tech channel reach 1 million? I don't think so. Probably ever. I feel pretty confident in saying that, but it doesn't bum me out because probably if you would have told me that like a few years ago, it may have bummed me out. But today, it really just comes down to figuring out what exactly makes you happy. And if you're bummed out that your numbers or something isn't growing the way you'd like to, realize how much power that has over you. It's like, this is preventing me from being happy. And I don't want numbers on a website to make me happy. I'm happy with my wife. I'm happy with my life, and I'm happy with where things are going, and I'm happy with my income. It's plenty for what I need, and I don't want numbers on the website to be the dictator of whether or not I'm a success or whether or not I'm happy. So we have plenty of channels and YouTubers out there that are completely enslaved to the algorithm, that are going to do whatever they can to get more subscribers, and they're going to say whatever they need to say to get more clicks on their videos. You can probably think of 10 to 15, but there's a lot of things that YouTubers and different channels have to do that I find annoying, but it works and it helps them grow their channel, so they do it. And I just want to be at least one guy that's like, can we just have a content creator that's more focused on making stuff they want to see instead of just getting another plastic play button in the mail? Because that's what feels like the driving force for a lot of content creators right now, is they're just like, well, we got to get this number, we got to get this many subscribers, we got to get this number because then I can get a play button and then I can get more of this, more of this, more of this. And after receiving the play button and whatnot, and after kind of growing a channel past a livable wage, I've kind of reached a point now where I'm like, that train never ends. The train of always wanting more. Even when you hit 100 million subscribers, there's probably going to be someone with more than you, and you're going to feel like, oh, I'm not reaching enough. I'm not as big as I could be. And they're always throwing the graph in your face. Oh, look how many people aren't subscribed. You need to be subscribed. It's like, people know how the site works, okay? If they want to subscribe, they will. And honestly, like, channels that tell me to subscribe make me want to not subscribe, because I'm like, I'm not watching this video because I want you to tell me to click a button. I want to subscribe because there's something of interest and something compelling that you uploaded that I want to see more of. It's one of the reasons to this day Red Letter Media is still my favorite YouTube channel. They don't upload very much. They're not very consistent, but they're very funny, and I love the fact that they are just completely, unforgivably dedicated to the content. Like, that's where all their focus goes, is making videos that you might not find them funny. I find them funny, but they are focused on making stuff that they are proud of. They might not be like super proud of it because they're kind of pessimistic and kind of negative, and they have a lot of self-hate in the form of humor. But the main thing is, they're not telling people who click on the video, hey, smash the like button, hey, hit subscribe. They're not trying to convince you of anything. They're just like, here's our content. We're going to put it out there. If you don't like it, don't watch it. It's that simple. And I wish more content creators kind of had that perspective of like, I'm just me doing my thing. I'm not going to try to like bombard you to click as many things as possible, or, do all this stuff. So yeah, I just wish more content creators would be less focused on the numbers, which is what you kind of have to go directly against what YouTube Studio is telling you. YouTube Studio is constantly telling you like, yeah, you got to hit this number, or you're not doing well enough, or they try to coach you in a way that is meant to convince you you're a failure if you're not exponentially growing at all times, which is not healthy for your mental space, and probably it's just not realistic for most channels to assume that they can always be growing full speed. It's just not possible. And there are people who have really figured it out on YouTube and grown extremely fast. Mr. Beast is a great example. But imagine if like every channel on YouTube was just trying to be Mr. Beast. There's only so much saturation a market or a genre of content could take. If everyone was trying to fill their backyard with Orbeez and everyone was trying to eat $100,000 pizza, well, it wouldn't be very interesting. And the YouTube space would probably be a lot more cringy. So we need different channels than that. We need channels that focus on different subjects. And when you focus on different markets and different trends, you're not going to be able to constantly be growing, because especially with tech videos, they're highly, I know some people disagree, but I think tech videos are highly dependent on what's going on in the tech world. You can have a really, really successful tech channel if you're making videos and posting content in the middle of something exciting going on in the tech space, and your channel could potentially flop if we get into a null where there's very little going on with smartphones and tablets, and there's going to be less and less things to talk about with computers, and that's what a lot of tech channels are facing right now. It's not just Talos of Tech. I know not everybody's dropping subs, but I mean, in regards to growth, I can think of 5 or 6 channels that have had significantly slowed growth recently because of the smartphone landscape and that kind of thing. Quimat Swift says, would you still have fun doing Apple Sheep rants? I love those. I know you don't like to be negative anymore. I don't mind being negative. The thing people forget about the rants is that you need something to rant about. You can't make rant videos if there's nothing really to rant about. And I only do rant videos when I feel like there's something rant worthy. Like the last big one I did was the Surface Duo, because there was a lot of issues with that. But if Google is not making a crappy phone for me to rant about, I can't do rant videos. So that's what I mean by them being very, like, tech news, especially with Talos of Tech, is very dependent on what's going on in the tech space. So I wish I could just flip a switch and be like, okay, I'm going to do 5 rant videos this month. But what would they be on? What am I ranting on? If there's nothing really that rant worthy, then the rant videos are not going to be very interesting. You wouldn't like them as much because I would be grasping at straws, and I would probably be ranting about things that aren't very funny, or ranting about things that don't justify a rant, and people would be like, this doesn't work as well. So I'll do rants, but when there's something to rant on. I'm not against ranting though. No, it's not that I enjoy being negative, but like when there's something that's really truly confusing and I'm like, why does this exist, or why does this product be designed a certain way? Yeah, I'd like to rant on it, but you can't do that all the time because there's not always something that's going to be super rants take some real stupidity from companies. Rosti said, would you ever consider running ads for the channel, like maybe on Instagram or something? No, because I don't think that would make me happier. Running ads for the channel would just be, I guess, me spending money hoping that the subscriber count goes up. I'm sure there's some data or statistics that claim that will definitely work. But I don't think they would, and I think they would probably attract an audience that I don't want. I want people to watch my videos because they like them, and I can't think of a lot of YouTubers or successful creators that were like, so how did you start watching my videos? How did you find my channel? And they said, oh, I saw an ad for MKBHD, or I saw an ad for H3 Podcast. And when I saw that ad, I clicked on it, and then I was like, wow, this is funny. I'm going to keep watching. I don't think that's as organic or as genuine. And again, it would basically be me just spending money so that I can see the sub count go up, which doesn't bring me joy, really. it doesn't. Like, I know that's not going to make me happy, no matter if you hit 1 million, people are going to be wondering if you can hit 10 million. If you hit 10 million, people are going to be wondering if you can hit 50 million. And there's always going to be another goal. It's always moving. So finding a way to be happy with yourself in the present, making content you're proud of today, that's what matters. That's where my focus is. It's not about more subs, more subs. Let's see. I can't wait for the next Apple Sheep Overdrive. Yeah, we need more of those. Snore says his wife don't like the rants. They're too loud for her work at home. Yeah, that's right. To be fair, that was written into the skit. She's never actually complained about me recording. Surprisingly, this house is not very big, but shockingly, this room is fairly soundproof. I'm able to scream and yell in my tech videos, and she says she can't hear me at all. When I go in there on my breaks or when we take our lunch, I ask her. Well, I don't ask her. She'll ask me, like, what have you done so far? Like, she can't hear me. She didn't hear me film or live stream or anything. So that's not easy to make a skit about, but me being too loud and that bothering her at work makes for a good comedic routine. So that's why we did it. But let's see. Yeah, not being the biggest, but trying to be. It's not about being the best, because best is very subjective, I read, but it's more about being like focusing on quality versus, I don't even know if it's quality. Focusing on just making stuff you want to see. If you're passionate about it and you believe in it and you're proud of what you make, I think that'll keep you happy more eternally than sub counts, which is always like, oh, we need more, we need more, we need more. Let's see. If you make all your videos 8 minutes or longer and place an ad at the end of the video, YouTube makes more money and will promote your videos more. Okay. That's it. Solution solved. All the videos got to be 8 minutes now. Nah, I'm sorry. For one, I don't buy it because the algorithm's always changing. And if it was that simple, I feel like more people would have figured it out. But, for two, if there's not 8 minutes worth of things to talk about in the video, then I don't want it to be over 8 minutes. I'm going to talk for as long as I have thoughts on the subject, and then I'm going to be done. So I don't want to go into subjects or go into topics where I'm like, I got to stretch this to 8 minutes. What else can I talk about? No, I'm just like, I'm here for my thoughts. That's it. And then when I'm done with my thoughts, I'm out. The video could be 4 minutes. It could be 30 minutes, depending on what I have to say. And I don't want the content length to be dictated on, well, I got to get that 8 minute mark. You're saying 8 minute now. Everyone was saying 10 minutes last year. Or people were saying, oh, you got to do this with your thumbnails. You got to do this with your title. It's just chasing the algorithm. I mean, I appreciate the suggestions, guys, but I hope you realize it's not really what I'm looking for. I'm not saying the tech channel's losing subs. Guys, what do I do? I'm like, the tech channel's losing subs. Get over it. That's kind of the way I'm looking at it right now. Is it's just like, it's a very inactive sub count if you consider what the average views numbers are for the tech channel versus how many people are subscribed. So because of that, I'm honestly fine with more people unsubbing if they're not interested in the content. I think just a lot of people have the natural assumption or the natural conclusion of, oh, I'm losing subs. That's not good. I better change something. It's like some people are just not interested, and that's okay. It's okay if someone watches your videos and decides, I don't want to keep watching this anymore. I don't think you have to change to fit the style of the times. If you want to change, you can. I'm not saying you can't. I'm just saying if you don't feel like changing, or if you want to keep making videos that you're proud of, or these are the types of videos you want to make, then just keep making them. And don't let the subscriber count dictate whether or not that's the right thing to do. Views going down too. Yeah, pretty much everything. Yeah, subs going down, views going down, watch time going down. But I don't blame them, because the tech space is becoming less and less interesting by the day, and I think that's going to be a continuous problem. So I would rather have a smaller channel that's more engaged than a giant channel that no one watches. That's kind of what EV is right now. It's a smaller channel, but there's a lot more engagement, a lot more viewership, So that's, and I'm very passionate about it too. I love making videos on that, and I love interacting with people in the EV community and stuff. So I'm just like, EV, to not sound like a complete pessimist, I know like most of this live stream is like, oh, Taylor Swift tech is dead, but I personally believe EV could hit 1 million. I do. I say that because I feel like there's a lot more room for growth in the EV space, and there's a lot more of a chance of there being more to talk about. And I think it's a already rapidly accelerating piece of technology that there's already a lot to talk about, but that's only going to get more and more interesting as the decade goes on. We're just experiencing the very beginnings of the transition to electric vehicles, and we're already making great, seeing great success with the channel with it. And it's kind of like the tech channel grew really, really quickly when there was a lot going on with the iPhone, and the growth of the iPhone 10 was what built most of the tech channel success. You know, I went full time in 2017, mostly because of all the videos and all the hype leading up to the iPhone 10 launch, and there was so much to talk about. And we're just not really going to have that much more with smartphones. But when it comes to EVs and Tesla, we're going to have a lot more of those iPhone 10 like growth stories, with more affordable EVs and better range EVs and better performance in the Cybertruck and all that. And I see a future there that I think is a lot more long term. I see tech kind of phasing away into becoming more of a niche genre, and EV kind of taking off to be more of the mainstream. May not look like that right now because the sub counts are so different, but view wise, they're actually pretty similar. So you just got a bunch of people not interested in tech videos, but you got a increasingly large number of people interested in EV stuff. YouTube should just have a website that tells you exactly what you need to do, so the algorithm will give your video to everyone. Well, it's constantly changing. That's why it's kind of silly to act like there's a one size fits all. This is what will result in your videos doing well. The truth is, there's very well-known tricks you can ask YouTubers. They will tell you. There's all kinds of things with video thumbnails and video content that you can do that has been statistically proven to result in a video doing well or a channel growing. But you have to ask yourself if there are things that you're comfortable doing, and like what's the driving priority. Are you trying to make content on YouTube because there's a video you want to make, or there's ideas you want to get out there, or are you just trying to get subs? If you're just trying to get subs, I guarantee you there's probably a fairly simple course that YouTubers have already put out saying, do XYZ, put this in the thumbnail, you know, with this color, lots of saturation, make sure your face is in the thumbnail, make sure you're going, and make sure you say subscribe, hit the like button, because that is statistically proven to work. But are you making stuff you're proud of? Is it really you, or are you just doing what other people have told you to do? That's fine if you want to do that. If your main focus is just getting famous and getting subscribers and always growing and becoming big, and you don't really care what you have to do to get it, that's fine. That's your prerogative. You can do whatever you want. That's the beauty of the platform. But I would just add out there that there's a lot of people doing that. So you kind of get drowned out. So if there's a way to separate yourself from the competition, if there's a way to provide some kind of unique angle that you can also be proud of and enjoy, pursue that, please, because it doesn't really help the platform much if everybody's just trying to do the exact same thing. So that's something I try to keep in mind when creating content. Is it's like I don't want to make videos that everybody else is already making. Provide your own spin on it, your own take on it, your own twist. And that's part of the reason I'm kind of hesitant with the space channel, is because there's a lot of space content I watch where I was like, oh, I love how they do this, I love how they do this, and I want to do videos like that. But at the same time, if I were doing videos like they're doing, I would basically just be copying them. I would watch their video and then say the same things I watched them say and just post it. And I don't need to do that. If I'm going to make space videos, I want it to be kind of different or separate itself from everybody else. So, and with the tech channel, it was the Apple sheep angle of just being like openly biased, which honestly, before Taylor Swift Tech, I may have not known of that many, but at the time it didn't feel like there were a lot of channels doing that. It didn't feel like there were many tech YouTubers out there that were like, I'm biased, I'm not fair, I'm not reviewing this objectively. I prefer Apple, but I'm going to give you my thoughts. Um, I didn't know of any channels doing that, or very many in the first place. I know some people are probably thinking iJustine, but the truth is iJustine just kind of loves everything. Um, yes, she's an Apple sheep, but she's also a Microsoft sheep, and she's also a Samsung sheep. Is it anything that comes out? Any company that wants to work with her, she's just like, yeah, I love this. I love this. She never really had an anti-bias. iJustine was never just like, this is objective. I prefer this, and this sucks, which is kind of where Talos of Tech would be a bit more unique in that regard. Plus, her channel's a bit more vloggy, that kind of thing. It's a bit different. From what I've seen, lots of tech channels get tons of subs and views for a couple of months and then see a decline and eventually stagnant sub growth and views. I see that too. I've noticed it with I don't want to name names, but I've seen that a lot too. Yeah, it's very dependent on the time of year and the news and all that stuff. She cannot not like something. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. I have nothing against iJustine, for the record. I'm not hating on her. I'm just saying, from what I've noticed with her videos over the years, it's just kind of everything is awesome. I love everything. So yeah, she loves Apple products because that's included in everything else. When she reviews a Samsung, she also loves that. When she reviews a drone, she loves the drone. When she reviews a car, she loves the car. It's just kind of a positive outlook on things in general. Not very ranty or critical on much, whereas I have a bit of a history of not just on non-Apple products, on Apple products too. I've been very outspoken, Mac Pro and the Pro Display. I'll just come forward and say it. I'm like, I don't like that. That was stupid. They shouldn't do that. So I can be very opinionated on both ways. You want to be rich someday. Yeah, someone's always going to be richer. That's also another moving goalpost. And yes, I get revenue when you watch my videos with YouTube Premium. I actually get paid more than if you just watch them with ads. You and I seem to time groceries and Taylosive talks at the same time. Glad it works that way. Let's see. She doesn't like the rants. That's right. Oh yeah, everything is awesome. That's a song. I forgot. That's from the Lego Movie. That's awesome. I don't know your real name, Alpha, but I see you on Twitter and Discord. There's Nick. Nick's joined in. He'll be live later today on movie reviews, so stay tuned for that. Let's see. A good Android review by Drew is like the highest claim. I thought it would be. A lot of people seem to not care when I promoted the Pixel 4a, but yeah, there's a lot of good Android phones out there. I feel like that means something. Yeah, honestly, if everybody had premium and was watching, we would all YouTubers would make more money, because it wouldn't be based on advertiser spending. It would be based on how many people are watching, which right now it's more dependent on how many advertisers are spending money on YouTube ads. That impacts our income pretty greatly. Hey, there's Ross. What good is a reward, kid, if you ain't around to use it? That's true. Very true. It's too bad Ross just joined in. I got to get going. I actually have to make a phone call right now. And I don't think I can live stream the call, but I thought it might be fun if I made the call as I was live, because I've never done that before. So you guys can just kind of guess. It might be fun reading the chat. I'm going to mute myself, but I want you guys to predict what I'm saying. Do we have any lip readers? No, I'm not FaceTiming a person. I'm calling a business. That's your hint. I'm not calling I'm calling a business, which is a little different than, I don't think this business supports FaceTime. Let me see. Do you think that Notch will be gone by 2022? No. Notch will be here a long time. Okay. I'm going to make the call. Here we go. I'm going to mute myself. You guys predict. Hey, I did it. Let's see. I have no clue if he's actually already talking. Oh, I was. That was a real call. I wouldn't fake that. We're going to miss the notch. No, notch ain't going nowhere. Don't worry about it. He's calling to get a new HVAC system is my guess. That would be nice. I wish I was making that call. But no. I don't think I would have to call someone for that. Just text Ross for that one. He can hook me up. It was a real call. I like how everyone is assuming I would just mute the stream for a few minutes to fake a phone call. You were very animated during that call. That's how I look in general. I'm an animated person, okay? Don't hate. He's trying to hide what he's saying. Yeah, probably. I could have hid what I was saying. From Israel. Pizza time. Calling for pizza. Ross is not correct, but he's on the right track. Anyway, it is food related. What do you think? Does that spoil it? It's not related to Taylosive food, but I'll end the stream when someone guesses it. What did I order? What did I call for? Ooh, Sam says Chinese food. Stefan says a restaurant. You're getting warmer. You're getting as warm as a phone charging with MagSafe. I can't read that. I'm not going to be able to. Warhead says pizza. No. Do you know who? Do you know who Joe is? Ligma. Hey, Gio got it right. Hamburgers. We're getting hamburgers. So I called them in because we got some coupon for some place that's getting 2-for-1 hamburger deals. Gio, I'm going to try to pronounce this. Vermeulen? Is that correct? Vermeulen guessed correctly. Sorry, not Indian, not Italian, but that sounds good too. Did I call a stove? Asked Emily. Not Grubhub. We don't have that here. We got to go pick it up. They do the curbside pickup thing. You just pick up the food. You don't have to see anybody. But anyway, you were correct. Congratulations. Thank you all for the super chats. Super generous today, especially Chris Norton. Holy crap, thank you. And I appreciate you all for tuning in and all the great comments and great questions. This is a whole lot of fun, and I hope to do it again soon. You're all awesome. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.